Hello, everyone. Hello, Find Your ID NYC followers. My name is Natalie Benoit, and today we finally have our amazing Pink Talks COVID-19 panel discussion, Reopening Strategies for Success. Myself and Amani Jones, who is right here, we are going to be asking these wonderful women plenty of different questions about their experiences as professors, business owners, and plenty more. So thank you all for joining. And definitely stay tuned, because towards the end of this panel discussion, from 7:45 to about 8, we're actually going to let some of you join live and ask these women any of the questions that have come up in your mind, whether it's about your own small business, whether it's about, being a professor, anything else in terms of our discussion today. Yeah. How is everyone doing?
Great. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thank you all so much for joining earlier with the Instagram. I know it's confusing. I know IGTV can be a little wonky, connection goes in and out, but hopefully we are all now here, and I'm so excited to have everybody, here to discuss. So we are going to get into it. Amani and I are both with Find Your ID NYC, so we are going to be here to moderate some of the questions and to kind of, give brief introductions as we get into everything. Shanira Monet, who is, I think, below me, if the screen is the same for everybody, is a business owner. You run a jewelry business with Paparazzi Accessories, and you are in New York City. Yep. And then next to you, again, hopefully the screen is the same for everybody, we have the wonderful Dr. Cindy Pham, who actually was able to connect us with many of our panelists today. So thank you so much for that. You look lovely, by the way. And with you, you're a college professor at SUNY Brooklyn College, and you received your PhD in marketing at the University of Texas and your MBA at the University of Houston. You also live in Brooklyn, so you have a lot of experience there. And transitioning over, I'm going to go back to our most recent panelist who we went to live on our Instagram, Lucina Arnold. You are also a marketing professor, and you said at Brooklyn College, correct? Yes. And you have 20 years of business experience. You were in the automotive industry as an accountant, executive. You had contracts with Ford, GM, Chrysler. Then you did 9 years in brand marketing. So you have a lot of extensive experiences in different types of business industries. So thank you again for joining this discussion. And transitioning over, we have some more panelists. We have a lot of amazing women today. We have Aisha Khanna, who is the business owner of the international clothing line Nora USA, which is an Indo-Western ready-to-wear and custom couture fashion line. I hope I said all of that correctly. But you are a well-established choreographer as well, and the director of Bollywood Funk NYC Dance School. So another woman of many different trades, as most of you are super experienced in your industries, and you have a lot of experiences in different aspects as well. And of course, another colleague of Dr. Cindy Pham is Dr. Savine Ostermerlink, who is a management professor, who is an adjunct assistant professor. And you actually received your bachelor's degree in business administration from Istanbul University, and you're from Turkey, as you mentioned during the introduction. So another wonderful woman joining us. And just now we were joined by the wonderful Michelle Cador, who is a business owner and the designer, CEO, and visionary behind Yes, I Am, a clothing brand. So I'm excited to have all of you with Amani and I today. We're going to get into a bunch of wonderful questions. And I think one of the first things that we really want to know is, how has the coronavirus pandemic affected each of you in your career? And if we want to get started, why don't we let Michelle lead that first question? Your mic might be muted. Let's double check. Can anybody else hear her, or maybe it's just me? No? Okay, well, we'll transition over while you're figuring that out. Why don't we let Dr. Cindy Pham start that one off for us? Here, can you hear us now?
Yes.
There we go.
Hi, everyone.
Perfect.
So, as you know, I'm in the New York area, so we get hit very hard by the COVID-19 in the March and April. So the school was disrupted immediately in March, and it's a big chance for me because I love to dress so nicely and go to class to see my students. So it's a big loss for me when I have to stay home and teach the students online, and many lesson plans had to be changed within a week to adapt to the online teaching or remote learning for the students. And technical issues is a big problem for all of us. Students, not only you facing the technical issue, but professor, we're struggling as well. So that's one thing. The second thing is, since we're talking about fashion, so I go to school every day, including weekend. So staying home and struggling with with what to wear at home is also a problem for me. And I cannot go to see my family in Houston, and also traveling because I love traveling a lot. So during the lockdown, it's a big problem for all New Yorkers. Yeah. So those things that what I think right now.
Awesome. And now, since Michelle didn't get a chance to answer before, I would love to hear how you've been affected. You talked about it a little bit previously, so feel free to lead that next one. I think the mic is still having issues, unfortunately. I don't think you're muted. No, still nothing. But you know what? While you're still trying to figure that out, why don't we let Dr. Savim lead on that question, if that's all right with you? I think it's still muted. Let's see. It's not letting me unmute it. Maybe.
Sorry, I think now everyone. Okay, great. So, as you know, a lot of things has changed during the past 6 months. And this is certainly a challenging period for all of us, right? According to my personal experience from my personal life, first of all, the COVID-19 has left no part of our lives untouched. But as everything, it has pros and cons, advantages and disadvantages. First of all, it reminded us that life is short and we should spend more time with our loved ones. It reminded us of the importance of our family members. It reminded us the importance of, it reminded us of the power of nature, right? And also it gave us a chance, an opportunity to review our lives, to evaluate our lives, right? People look at what they have done so far and they might find themselves content with this or decide to change. And, you know, there are key times in life this is likely to happen. So, and also we can say the most importantly, I think, it reminded us that we all are equal, right? Regardless the culture, religion, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely, yeah.
Yes. And I think, Michelle, hopefully now if you can unmute your mic, we'll be able to hear you because we would still love to get your input.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me? Perfect.
Yes, perfect.
Okay, sorry about that. New laptop, totally missed that button that says unmute mic. So it's a pleasure to be here with all of you ladies today. I'm loving the pink. And Natalie, yes, please shoot me the question again, and I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah, no problem. We were just wondering, to kind of get things started, how has the coronavirus impacted you directly and your line of work, especially as a business owner? You had mentioned previously that you do have, events and some in-person things in your shops, and that's obviously changed now.
Absolutely. So prior to the virus, I actually left a full-time position in December to run my business full-time. So perfect timing, right? But it's really fine. What we've seen is the other thing is my store is located within City Point Mall, which remains closed because, the governor says that we can't reopen as yet. So it's been interesting. We've had to pivot to online sales, which we are, accustomed to, but 90% of our sales have been from in-person interactions. And that is for the Spot NYC. I also have Yes I Am Clothing, which is already in e-commerce, and that's sold also through the Spot NYC. But for the Spot, of course, all of our events had to be on pause. We give residencies to different artists, so that had to be paused, and we just had to pivot. So it's been a test, I would say. Of course, this virus is non-discriminatory. It's going after everyone. So it's really been a learning experience, but I've definitely cherished the experience because we spent the last 2.5 years in a 100 square foot space back in Dumbo. I think Imani's been there before. Hi, Imani. Hey. So we're no stranger to really working with less, and so moving into City Point, which is like a high traffic mall, that was like, woo. But I think that having this step back gives us a lot of time to be able to really strategize. So it's sort of a blessing in disguise. I get to actually sit back and, do things that I wasn't able to do because I had been running full time.
Definitely. So in a way, you've definitely had a different experience with COVID. It's not been all terrible. You have had some better things happen.
Yeah, I'm looking at the bright side.
Exactly. Yep. Glass half full, right?
Right, exactly.
So Shanira, I want to ask you this question, especially because you have an accessories and jewelry business. How has getting your supplies and materials been since COVID-19 started?
Hey, everybody. You guys can hear me well, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll be super honest. It's at the beginning, it was a huge struggle, meaning that I get all my supplies from Utah and sometimes China. You guys know in the beginning, there was a whole bunch of restrictions. So things were on back order. Things are still like, there's orders that I'm waiting for from last month. Not many people are getting back to work. And in these mail-in factories, there's a whole bunch of restrictions to keep everybody safe. So it's been a little tougher, but we're holding out, and we want everybody to be safe first of all. So priority in health is key. So as we wait, just make sure everybody's good.
Definitely. Another question I want to ask for our business owners that are here today with us. How has it been trying to stay motivated with your business and kind of get things going? Aisha, for you've achieved a lot of success with fashion shows and pop-up shops. So what are you doing right now to make up for the lack of in-person exposure and engagement?
Well, staying motivated has been tough, to be honest, especially as a creative. I think if I can speak for everyone here, if you're a creative person, then you can't help but get affected by what you see around you, because we are constantly looking for inspiration. But the one thing, and especially because I run a custom couture line, which, as I heard before, is that we deal with clients on a one-on-one basis. We don't create outfits which are like produced in, we don't do mass production. So that has certainly stopped. But I kind of miss that a lot, because I love my clients. I love meeting every single woman and creating an outfit for her. But the thing that I've learned is that you have to adapt as an entrepreneur, as a business person. You have to be able to accept new change. And what we've been doing is staying very active online. We all know that online is the new era. So we're trying to stay very active on social media. We are definitely still keeping in touch with our clients. We're making sure that our relationship is not dying. Business has certainly slowed down, but it hasn't stopped. And I'm trying to stay motivated by just reminding myself this is only temporary, and this is just like an obstacle, a little hurdle, and focusing on the fact, like I'm trying to already focus on 2021 and creating the new fashion line, and already looking forward to the new season. So being active on social media and keeping in touch with the clients. I'm taking a lot of pre-orders because now, since we are not able to create new pieces and obviously production has stalled, we are keeping in touch with the clients and taking pre-orders and making sure that as soon as we're able to resume production, we're able to deliver the best pieces and make these women happy all over again. Anything to put a smile on their faces, because we definitely need that.
Awesome. Just to let some of our viewers know who are asking questions, we will have a Q&A segment towards the end of the panel discussion around 7:45, where you can actually send a request to join this broadcast and ask your question directly to the wonderful women that we have. So just letting everyone know about that. You can see that the join StreamYard link is actually pinned down below. Awesome. Another question that we want to ask Michelle is, what are you doing at your shop's locations to follow COVID-19 safety guidelines and restrictions?
Sure. So can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, great. So right now we're only offering curbside pickup. And of course, our customers have to come to pick up their purchases with their mask. If we ever have a customer that comes in store to pick up, of course, masks have to be on as well. But in general, because we're not open, we don't really have much of an issue right now. But we have taken advantage of Square's partnership with American Express. I'm not sure if everyone knows about this, but they're giving away free safety kits, basically. So, we got some for our business, and we're just making sure that when it is time to reopen, the markers are on the floor to make sure there's 6 feet distance. We're making sure that we have signage outside of the shop to let people know that, what the requirements are. You must wear a mask inside. And we're going to make sure we have our dispensers. And then for ourselves, we're still producing, even though we're not open, we're still producing. So, we take our safety measures every time I visit the shop. Even though I'm working from home, I go in maybe twice a month, and I always have my mask on. My partners know I'm not coming outside for 5 minutes to catch anything. So everybody has to keep their mask on. We're just, keeping prepared. And we're also communicating online. We took a note from many of the big retailers, and we made sure to communicate expectations to our customers during this time, and just let them know what to expect and how we're handling, to make sure that we are, letting them know, reassuring them that we're taking safety measures to, the highest degree.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a lot of work on your plate in that regard.
Yes.
Definitely hats off and kudos to you for all of the new, guidelines that you have to follow right now. I did have a question for you, and also for some of the other ladies on the panel. What do you foresee, or what do you predict for the future in terms of brick and mortar retailers? Do you predict any changes happening in setup, or changes in shopping styles?
Yeah, so for big retailers, we see that they're closing left and right. And, normally that would be troubling to me, but luckily for me, my business is consignment based, so I am not affected in that respect. And again, I said we started off in a 100 square foot space for 2.5 years. So, we're no stranger to being in the shadows and then climbing our way back up, So, what I foresee in the future, I have no idea. People thought that we were going to open in June. I was like, no, we're not. I am being realistic with this. I honestly, I'm trying to be optimistic. I would love to catch that holiday season. I'm glad to skip over summer and work from home, but I really don't think that we're going to be really back out maybe until spring. I hate to say it. But until a vaccine comes about and this is really under control, we're looking at a very slow, return to whatever the new normal will be. And I'm also taking a note from Google, who just announced that until summer 2021, their staff that are not essential will be working from home. So if the big boys are not putting people, outside until summer 2021, that's the note. I'm just like, okay, let me make sure that my overhead is covered at least through March so that, this is what it is. It's unfortunate, but this is what it is. So, and when we do return to normal, I do think that we will be, I don't know. I have mixed feelings. I have a little anxiety over it, but I think that we will slowly get comfortable again and we will be more careful. New York City is a very busy, everybody's shoulder to shoulder. I'm getting a car at the end of the year. I'm like, I don't want to be around anyone on the subway. So, we're going to have to really shift. And I feel that people will be very, very careful going forward. Keeping your distance will be more than a New York thing. It will be like a definite, this is, you never know, safety type of behavior,
Yeah.
For sure, for sure. Aisha, what do you think about the future of retail? Do you have any opinions or predictions on what's going to happen?
Well, I think we have two options here, and I would just like to stay on the optimistic side, but also be a realist at the same time, because there's no other way. Because I'm kind of living personally as a creative person. I'm living in a positive bubble. So like I said in my previous thing, I'm already imagining 2021 to be a beautiful year, and I think the reason I'm doing that is because it won't stop us from creating and from being, being in a good spot. That being said, definitely being realistic, as Michelle said, that things are not going to be back to normal just yet. And the normal was super busy. The normal was overcrowded. The normal was just go, 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 go. And I think that was abnormal. Let's just put it that way. Stores being busy, we are being, we're climbing on top of each other. We don't have space to breathe. I think that was abnormal. So I don't think this is, the new normal. This is how it is meant to be. Obviously, we would love to hug our client and give them oh, thank you so much for being here. But practicing safety is really important. So as we come back slowly, social distancing will be really important because health is everything for us. For everyone shopping for us. This thing has been changing so much. So I am just predicting. I've actually stopped predicting. I am just taking one day at a time. I am focusing on what I have today, whether there are 4 people or I have 40 people, because I know the news is only going to come and confuse me even more. So I have just stopped. I've stopped focusing on that, and I have just focused on what can I do right now. Okay, I can focus on online sales. I can focus on virtual sales. Fortunately for me, I don't have too much inventory because we are dealing with one customer at a time. So instead of having to meet them in person, we're just doing phone consultations. We're doing video chats, and just making them feel secure that whenever we do come back into production, we are going to practice everything that is necessary to give them what they need, but making sure that we are following the guidelines and just inviting one customer at a time or 2 clients at a time, even the employees. Their health and safety is also equally important. So, wearing masks, and yes, it's going to be uncomfortable, but what is more important, being uncomfortable or being alive? So I think there right now, the choice is right there. We all being very upset about this is not, this is my right, and being uncomfortable, but right now, this is not the time to, to moan and to complain. This is the time to just embrace what you have and really think, what can I do? If you become more solution oriented, then you'll see the problems will just dissolve. So just think, and the clients are looking to us as creative people. What solutions can we offer? And this is where we have all the time now to think outside the box. This is when the greatest inventions are going to happen. This is when, the best things are going to come to the surface, and it's going to be a new 2021. So, virtual sales, virtual fashion show, and why not? I mean, this is the new age. Let's embrace it. It's going to be uncomfortable, but I'm in for the joyride. Why not? Definitely. Yes, absolutely. Life is precious, Melissa. Thank you.
Love it. And I think, Lucina, you wanted to chime in on the question on this one, or would you like me to transition into, the training for new employees, managers, and marketing strategists? What do we all think that's going to be like now, given the virus, especially for our professors that are here?
I think the marketing strategy point actually fits in the conversation that we just had that Aisha and Joe were talking about. And as you guys were speaking, I'm sitting here like all excited because as a marketer, I'm thinking about this is a huge opportunity for your brand and for brands like Michelle. Michelle had mentioned that a lot of the large corporations were closing. They were closing before COVID because brick and mortar was kind of like an old thing. And then the trend was more online sales. Everyone's going virtual. And I think to stay optimistic, I'm with you, Aisha, on that, is that COVID really pushed us forward about maybe 2 years is what it really did. And what it's doing, I think, is that it's positioning small business owners to actually take that market share when we really get back to normal. Because I may have never known your brand, but I know your brand now. And millions of people around the world know your brand, and we can do virtual fittings and you have virtual shows. So I think it forced us to pivot faster than we wanted to, but I think it's like a really positive thing. And as a marketer, I mean, for me, it actually helped me pivot in my career to think, okay, well, I'm in the classroom, but I love business so much. That's my core. What do I do next? And then an opportunity pops up because why? Everyone's going virtual. So going back to the Google comment that Michelle made, they're not going to open their offices until next year. They also mentioned that they may keep like a virtual presence, whereas, they may be more agile where some people can work from home, but it allows them to hire people from all over. So you don't have people just on the coast. So it's really going to bring a fair, I think a level playing field when this is all over. I mean, not to downplay it, it's a really serious thing, but I think from a business standpoint, it's a great opportunity. And looking at your business, Iman, and what you guys are doing, I mean, I would be hiring you right now if I had a business because it's like, hey, what are the strategies we should be doing? So that's all going to grow your business as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for the input, Professor. We really appreciate it. And, for the other professors that are here, Dr. Savim and Dr. Cindy, what are your thoughts on how the training is now changing, especially you, Dr. Savim, who has done research specifically on human resources and the behavior of managers? That's really interesting.
Yes, as other panelists mentioned, COVID-19 has changed the experience of being an employer, being a customer, being a citizen, and a human. So we are witnessing a massive behavioral change, and it forced organizations to respond immediately to this change. So from management perspective, organizations first should navigate the balance between employee safety and moving ahead with business, right? And then they must be equipped with the best data, right? The best data available. So they should strengthen their IT departments, marketing departments, research and development departments. And also they shouldn't forget about the psychological toll, right? There is a psychological toll that will have an ongoing impact on workers who have lost their loved ones, who have lost their jobs, right? And this will certainly require people to have a certain degree of emotional intelligence, I guess, right? So those are my opinions from my perspective.
Thank you for sharing. Dr. Cindy, do you have any thoughts on, this topic itself?
Sure. I would like to stay in the more optimistic side because my research showing that the slow time for retailer should only occur during the pandemic time because I survived the Harvey hurricane time in Houston and everything was destroyed. And of course, the economy was slow for 2 years. But then once we pick up people, and I would like to give the compliment about Americans people forget and move on so fast. That's the strength of this country. And from my own experience during this summer, I travel quite many places, and I see people still like to get close to each other. They like to shop in person. Myself the same. So I think that once we have the vaccine, everything will slowly get back to normal. And come on, women, we have the things called retail therapy. It means that we like to go to the store to shop. And also, once the restaurants open again and the dating scenes, I'm single, so I'm totally weird dating. The dating scenes get back again, then come on, everyone would have to dress up and get out on the street in New York. Come on, New Yorkers, ladies, we like to show up, flaunt it if we get it right. And again, to conclude, I think that this slow time, or I say the abnormal time, will pass soon. And I want to give a funny example that experience that me and Imani faced in May when we first get out the restaurant in Manhattan. We all dress up in heels and dress, and everyone said, "Whoa, where you ladies going to?" And we say, "We just have a dinner and we dress up for ourselves." So people were shocked that they get locked down in the house for too long, and they get used to wear pajama because nobody see. So then they slowly pick up the habits of dressing up again for others. And I think that everything after the virus, I think that give the world 1 year and everything will be back to normal. That's what I think. And the result also show on my research, because I did many research on COVID-19 and mental health, and basically the depression or the stress that people facing recently is just due to this pandemic, but not about the future. So we should be looking forward to the bright future. Yeah, everything be normal. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, so speaking about the future, right? I did have a question for you, ladies, about the fall semester coming up for students, right? A lot of the colleges have decided to completely stay closed and do virtual classes, hybrid classes, and some colleges are actually leaning towards opening up for the fall. What do you guys think about the transition if the schools do transition into hybrid classes? How is that going to affect the students and the learning environment? And what do you feel? How do you feel about the schools that are deciding to open up early? And some people are thinking that has been controversial right now, the decision to open up schools. So what do you all think about that?
I would like to start first because actually I am doing the research on this, the dilemma for the student mental health, whether they want to go back to school to get back to the normal life, or they want to stay home to avoid the virus. So I'm doing this research right now, so I would like to share some of my thoughts. So basically, as a professor, what I can do for the student is, first of all, I will switch all my lesson plans to online. But at the same time, I'm waiting for Brooklyn College if they have the campus open. So I'm willing to have face-to-face office hours on the campus to meet my students. I believe that some students, they just need some human contact. Face-to-face always better than talking in front of a computer. And also, I feel like I have my Instagram to communicate with the students. So that's the new technology. I mean, new technology because maybe you ladies very young, but I just started my Instagram 4 months ago. So yeah, very late. Yes. So I feel like using Instagram to talk to the students and see what they are doing is also the way that I show that I'm always there for my students, even they cannot see me in my office during office hours like before. And for some of the school, because I know that school in Houston is opening for the fall semester, and many senior professors worried about their health. And but on the other side, several young professors are so excited to get back to school to see the students. So maybe I'm too can't say so butterfly, but I would love to see students in person. And I hope that because we already confirmed at Brooklyn College, we're going to have on remote teaching before the fall semester. I hope that I will be able to see my beloved students again on campus. Yeah. But the students out there, They also are stressed as the professors with the choice whether to go back to school or they stay home to protect themselves and their loved ones, especially the elderly at home. So yes.
Yeah, we actually have a comment from Kalinki Labrinodis. I want to say that last name correctly. She says, personally, I really miss in-person classes and feel I learned better in that setting. However, I do understand that staying mostly virtual is the safest option for everyone. Professor Arnold, what did you think about opening up for this fall?
Well, I want to second what Cindy said. I just want to say, one, Cindy, you are a social butterfly, and that's why we love you. So I think that's good. I taught 4 classes last semester that were all online. And luckily for me, they were all online in the beginning. So when we pivoted to go virtual, I didn't have to make very many changes. But the feedback that I got from students is that they actually really enjoyed classes on campus. So I think that Dr. Fan, what you were discussing about having interactions with your students on Instagram and just being as social as possible is probably the best way to go. I know over the semester I held a couple of Zoom seminars for students to join and give them extra credit. So I just think it's a good idea because it's the safest idea, but I think that we have to keep the students engaged and connected as much as possible. So I think Instagram, Zoom, I'm just opening up, sessions each week where they can ask questions and actually see you on video. And I think another thing that I miss, and I think that students miss, is the collaborations with their classmates and being able to see them and interact in class. So I think trying to bring some of that, virtual online and using existing technology is the best way to go.
Definitely. I think engagement is one of the key elements that is sort of missing from the online modules. But yeah, I wanted to get Michelle's opinion on the situation. What do you think about the fall semester and how it's going to affect students?
Said, and I really think that when we were in college, a big part of the experience was the engagement and the interaction, the human interaction. But the thing that I'm looking at here is the shift in landscape, right? The fact that with colleges and with our regular jobs, it was always understood that you had to be present in order for this to work. And now we're seeing, because of COVID, that that's not necessary, right? You at this point really don't have a choice. You have to work online. So I do think that it's unfortunate that college students have to, miss out on the experience, the usual experience of engaging with one another. But I am a bit interested and optimistic about the technological aspect of this going forward and how this has shifted how we operate as a society.
Definitely. That makes a lot of sense. Now that we're all, as you can see, we're all doing this virtually, so that speaks to how people have spent a lot more time online because of the social distancing guidelines and the restrictions, which also means a lot more consumption of online advertisements and brand related content. A lot of people using, the computers more, watching TV more, a lot of online stuff. So what is the most important thing companies and brands should keep in mind with their marketing and their management? I feel like this is a good question for our professors here. How about we start with Dr. Sibim, if you want to answer that one for us. I think your mic is muted. Here we go. There you go. All set.
Okay, can you repeat the
No
question?
problem. Yeah.
Please?
So, with everything kind of being online now, including advertisements and brand management and all that, what is the most important thing companies and brands should keep in mind in their marketing and their management now that things are more online?
Okay, so as I said, it's the virtual century, right? We live in the we can call it post-corona era. It's like information age, digital age, like right now, corona age, right? So as I said, everything happens very quickly, 1, 2, 3, and some companies or schools were well prepared for this virtual century, but some weren't. So they should train their employees, or they should, first of all, employees, and then for students, train their students, right? Because, you know, after this, everything will be online. And also for schools, universities in these days trying to finalize their decisions for the rest of the semesters. And many, we heard that many will continue completely remote teaching, and some are implementing hybrid plans. And especially initially, our school will go online for the fall semester, but initially they were planning to go hybrid classes. And how they will plan this is like that. Uh, for example, if you have 30 students, first week you will meet just 15 students, and the other 15 will be online over Zoom or other online platforms. And the next week, the other 15 will be in class in person. And then, to me, that doesn't sound logical. That doesn't make sense for me. So it's better to go online for the fall semester. But I must admit that I really miss my face-to-face classes. And also, I heard that I'm really surprised. I heard that some universities will go face-to-face in the
Yeah.
fall. Yeah. I don't know. I have some concerns about going face to face for the fall semester. But
Definitely.
but
Yeah.
it is,
Well, it's a little scary to think about it, but it has its pluses and its minuses, as we were speaking earlier. I want to ask this question to Professor Arnold. With everything being online now, again with advertisements and brand related content, what is the most important thing that you think companies should keep in mind with their marketing and their management?
I think what I would say, my two most important things, I think, would be branding and customer engagement. So, particularly if you're launching a new brand and you're in this kind of COVID where everything's virtual, so you really should be focusing on how you're seeding your brand. So everything is about branding, all the elements there, continuously marketing through social media. Making sure you know your target, and that's who you should be marketing every single day is your target, and then utilizing analytics. There's so much analytics out there now. If you're in digital space, if you use the analytics, you'll know exactly who your target is. You'll know exactly what they like, what they don't, and then that's the opportunity for you to go and modify what's working, what's not, and make changes. So I think I love the virtual world. If you haven't noticed, so I actually think it's an exciting time. If you're in marketing, I think it requires a lot of work and a different way of thinking. But I think you could be very successful if you focus again branding and seeding your product and engagement with the customer.
Amazing. Thank you for your input on that. Definitely seeing that world changing a lot more now. I have a lot of friends in marketing and they're talking to me constantly about how their courses are changing and how they're seeing a lot of changes even in the internships that they're having. Things are definitely more dynamic than they were before.
I agree.
Yeah. But I definitely want to let everybody know who's watching that, this is the time. If you have any questions you want to ask these wonderful panelists, now is definitely the time. We will definitely be adding you if you do want to join us live, and you'll have that opportunity to ask these women any of the questions that have been on your mind. Something else I definitely want to ask everybody here, Shanira, maybe this one is a little more directed towards you. What are your thoughts about, mask hostility? That's something that we're seeing a lot more in the news. The Boston Globe shared an article all about mask hostility workers are experiencing at the stores and the shops they're facing. So what are your thoughts on that?
I personally think mass hostility is just really, it's silly to me. These things are here to protect you. And coming from somebody who works in the morgue, I'm a morgue technician. I suggest everybody take their take the coronavirus very serious. Like Michelle said earlier, it doesn't discriminate against anybody. It's here. Yeah, we can't see it, but we've personally been affected so much. And to be hostile in an environment in a time like this where life is so short, it doesn't make any sense. Just be safe so we can get back to what we thought was really normal before. You know, it's hard. I know, especially with the heat, wearing a mask right now, it's tough. But it's better than being sick.
Thank you so much. Michelle, I know with your shops, what are your thoughts on that? Mask hostility. I'm seeing videos on Facebook like every single day of someone just not wanting to wear a mask, even though if it's a trip to the grocery store, even like people are facing a lot of backlash. Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Yeah. So my initial thoughts when you mentioned this is try me. That's the New Yorker in me. Like, try me if you dare. But really, I am a caretaker. I have an elderly, mother, and I have absolutely no time for any of that foolishness. So when it comes to my shop, I can't take those chances. We're going to have a sign, like I said, out front that says exactly what our requirements are. And I don't care to engage in, it's not worth it for our lives to be in danger, for someone to come in without a mask and put us at risk, or for someone to get hostile about it. It's not worth it. It's ridiculous. We're seeing that there is more of we're seeing that there's less of spreading happening with the mask, because I will reference the recent protests. There were thousands of people, in New York City that were walking around protesting, marching with their mask on, and we did not see an uptick here, so clearly there's something happening with these masks. So I just feel that, it's ridiculous that people don't understand the gravity of the situation and they feel so entitled and privileged to not wear their mask. That's fine. But when you come around our business, you're not going to put our lives in danger for clothing. You're going to have to wear your mask or you can't enter. That's it.
So simple as that.
Yeah, definitely. And like you said, you're working as a morgue technician. I'm sure you're seeing, a lot of unfortunate cases with people getting COVID, and it's definitely like a wake up call. It's scary. And for everybody who is a business owner, that's really hard and something everybody should be taking seriously. Because like you said, we didn't see, like, I'm in New Jersey, and there were a lot of protests here for the Black Lives Matter movement. And New Jersey is doing better now than ever before. And this was after all of those protests happened. And I went to some of them and people had their masks on. People were being very, very careful, for sure. I'm going to head over also to the comments because I think we have a few questions there. I'm going to check it out. Let's see. Here we go.
Yes.
So one of the questions is asked is, if possible, how do you create that personal connection and interaction with customers through e-commerce platforms? That's a great question. Thank you.
Do we?
Yeah, you can.
Okay. So
business.
one of the ladies spoke about, the analytics and watching customer behavior. So this is what I've been doing from home, and it's been super fun. And one of the things that I'm also focusing on is our Shopify website. We use Shopify for the platform. And so I've been looking at different apps to enhance the user experience on the website. And I've added a chat app that allows, I can see everything that the in their cart. And sometimes I'm tempted to say, here's a 20% discount, like just go ahead and cash out, but they're able to directly ask me a question, and it will be 2 a.m. because I'm a late owl. And I will I will respond right back to them and say, sure, what do you need, and help them. So that has definitely been helpful, being able to, communicate with customers on Instagram and Facebook DMs, sometimes on our personal DMs or our personal text messaging. I'm making sure that we definitely make a personal connection with our customers and really have them feel like it's a first-class service. And just to go back a little bit, talk about the future, I am kind of seeing this moving forward as an opportunity to treat the spot as more of a boutique where you can schedule appointments and come and have your one-on-one time with us, right? Because people really love that when they come in, there's a vibe and there's an energy and they get to interact with the owner since we're employees. So I'm like thinking this is what we'll be doing. It's sort of what we're doing now, kind of. But moving forward, it will be more of, until it's really, really safe, we can schedule different appointments throughout the day and, 2 or 3 people at a time, and we'll each tend to you.
That's great. That's really, speaking of the future, that's a smart way of moving forward to make sure safety is still a priority.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Aisha, how would you answer that question? How do you maintain that personal connection interaction with your customers through your e-commerce platform?
Thank you. That's a great question, actually, and I completely resonate with everything that was just said right now. And the interesting thing is that as a brand, Nora has always been about in-person connection. Like I said, that we are dealing with clients on a one-on-one basis. The only difference is that now I can't meet them at a pop-up shop. I can't meet them in person. But the client is the same, whether they're behind the phone or behind the computer, the person's the same. The person's personality hasn't changed. The person's interest hasn't changed. Certainly their taste levels haven't changed. So if you built a relationship which was pre-COVID, and you continue to foster the relationship, then most definitely during these times, it's bound to get stronger. And I think one of the ways is definitely by being in touch with them, Instagram, even do Zoom calls with them. I know that, being able to see a garment, a fashion, piece, it's very important to be able to touch it, to be able to see it, to be able to try it. And fortunately now there are different apps which are available, but, just have a one-on-one virtual meeting through Zoom, let them know that you're still interested. You can, like we are all here connected, we're smiling, we're listening. And it's actually very, very lucky. The other good news is that now, there are no borders. Geography doesn't matter anymore. You can actually, have a call or a chat and or a in-person call or a connection with anyone sitting in any part of the world. So it kind of opens up the world for you. You're no longer just limited to New York City, New Jersey, Connecticut, East Coast, West Coast. So when you think about that, you realize that everybody is your client, and you have such a big spectrum to work with. So but connection is everything, and but right now we have to take advantage of everything that the digital world is offering us. It's definitely a learning experience. We also have to do our homework. So see out there, try different things, try different apps, try different services, and take something which works for you and which makes your client feel comfortable, because they still want the same things and they still want to be felt special. So connecting with them on a one-on-one basis, just virtually, but the client is the same. So treat them the same way. Don't change. And I think one thing which we can do is, we all are aware of the fact that things are not normal, but by continuing to avoid that topic of that it's not normal and just shifting their focus to all the good stuff, your beautiful stuff, what you're creating, what you are going to bring next. I think that's a great diversion. I think people look to us, they are already working 9-to-5 jobs or whatever they're doing. As creative people are looking for that diversion, that beautiful piece of outfit, that amazing piece of jewelry. So divert them, and it'll affect and it'll enhance their life. And yes, you can have a virtual Zoom meeting and wear a pretty top and an exquisite piece of jewelry. Why not? Motivate them, create those kind of videos, be a trendsetter. Why should we always be in pajamas? I'm going to start doing Zoom meetings in like evening gowns if I could. At least we'll get an opportunity. But yes, connection is everything. Before COVID, post-COVID, that thing is for life. The methods change, but you and your customer, that relationship is 1,000% the same. It should only get better and deeper. If you just tell them we are still here for you, and we're still providing good value, and you can still trust us, and then what happens is they'll follow you. they'll follow you. They'll follow you when you come back stronger, bigger, better. They won't let go of you. And that's what you need to do. You need to hold on to them instead of saying, oh, I'm losing customers. Hold on to what you have, because then they'll be like, if they could do this right now, imagine, what can they offer when they are back in business, when they have sales going on. And right now, it's time to prove that, that hold on to us right now in our weakest moments. And we have each other's backs, and when things get normal or amazing, if I would like to say, then yeah, we're all floating in good waters. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Aisha. So guys, we do have a live guest that's going to be joining the stream, Julia A, and she has a couple of questions for you guys. So Julia, welcome to the show.
My question is,
hello.
Do you have any advice for college students or new brands to kind of network and get experience in the fashion field and the business field when in-person events aren't really being held and internships are harder to get?
Can you repeat that?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes. Just one more time, please.
So do you have any advice for current college students or new brands to network and gain experience in the fashion field and the business field when in-person events aren't really being held and internships are harder to get?
It's very difficult right now because you don't have that interaction, but I would say that now is the perfect time to try to pitch to different brands and see if you can maybe help shadow, if they need assistance in certain areas, maybe you can help with their social media if you're able to do that. Find ways that you can learn how they operate different parts of the business. And then create that relationship with, the brand owner. That's as best to me. It's a little difficult unless the brand, some brands are open. So unless the retail shops are open, or this is a designer that's able to meet with you in person at a distance, you have to be creative and find ways that you can bring value before they are willing to tap in as well. I would say my shop, we are the type of business owners to really help people when they come. We always love, that was the great thing about the spot. When they come into our shop, we're always welcoming newbies, new designers, and, showing them the ropes. But it's not as easy right now. But we are probably not like everyone else. So you just have to be creative, if that makes sense.
All right, thank you.
And I would like to answer this question for Julia. What you are doing now, when you pop in this discussion and show your face and with this smart question, I think that is the way you introduce your brand and yourself to us. That's a very smart way. So this is one of the way. Try to find interesting, meaningful, and sophisticated events when you can join and make networking online. Because before you can go to such events face to face, but now online meeting is also the good way. And LinkedIn is also a good one, because as the business professor, I see so many of my students find internship via LinkedIn. And one more thing I would like to tell you is that have an open mind, because several of my students were shocked when all of the internship offers disrupted because of the COVID-19 and social distancing rule of the company. But then some of them switched right away to online internship, and it worked well. For example, one of my students here, I just saw she pop up Jenny Wang. She's really smart on finding online internship with a very good company. And come on, after the COVID-19, everything come back to normal, and you have something on the resume. For example, during the lockdown in New York, I land myself a part-time position for Vietnamese national newspaper to report COVID-19 situation in New York. And I thought now it's going to be a permanent job for me, a side job for me, together with a professor. And I was studying about consumer behavior before, but I see the opportunity for me with COVID-19. So I tied them together. and within 2 months, I have 5 applications. So as a marketing professor, don't see everything as a challenge, see as opportunity. And what you can work is your weakness, or can say that what you need to improve, and your strengths, and see everything as opportunity. Because for me, COVID-19 is actually big opportunity for my career in terms of research, challenge myself with technology as a professor, and also making networking. So Julia, I think you will have a bright future ahead. Come on, you're here today with all of us.
Thank
Right.
And if you need any help, look, at the end, you can email me, and I may, get you connect with some of my students who successfully find internship in this difficult time. Why not?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome, Julia. Good job. I like you already.
Awesome, awesome. Julia, did you have any other questions, or are you good for today?
No, I think I'm good for today.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you for joining us.
Thank
Some
you.
more questions coming in from the audience, so let me check on what else we have here. Okay, so we have a question
Also,
from.
I want to add that.
Oh, I heard somebody.
Yes, and also I want to add that students can improve themselves by joining online conferences and online certificate programs in these times.
That is a great, great suggestion. Thank you so much. Yes, so we have another question that came in from Min, and she's asking, how has your business vision changed during the pandemic? So do we have any of our business owners that would like to chime in on that?
Okay. I'll start with, I think, just saying that, yes, nobody anticipated the situation that we are in. If I have to speak about myself and my business, just up until till February of this year, I was traveling. I was in Paris. I was doing fashion shows. I already had events planned for May, and I had already applied for Fashion Week in the fall. And then boom, one fine day, everything changes. So definitely we had to take a few steps back. And like everybody else in the beginning, we kept hoping that things are going to get better, things are going to get better. And I'm still keeping that hope. The only thing is God wants us to be a lot more patient than we are. So this is definitely a huge lesson in patience. I'm practicing meditation on a daily basis, a side note. But the business vision has changed in the sense that now it's all about adapting. And at the end of the day, like I said in the previous thing, your client is the same, just your method has to change. And I know we are all worried about where our business is going to go, and about funds and about money coming in. But I think the biggest resource we have is here. The biggest resources is our ability to think, is our ability to create. So I am just focusing on just adapting to the new normal and trying to see what can I do and what can I offer and how is my product going to be useful for my client. So let's, for example, I'm into custom couture. I was creating these beautiful gowns and these pieces. Which I just answered a question earlier. During Instagram Live, it was taking 4 weeks and about 10 hours a day. And now that's not necessary anymore, because I don't see, a client going out and spending that kind of money, because we have to consider their financial situation as well. If we are being hit by it, and so is our client. So I'm changing my product. I am trying to offer products which are, easily affordable, which are, which can be worn on a daily basis, which can be worn for Zoom meetings like this. Like, we're only visible to this extent, and nobody cares if it's a long tail or not. So change your product. Change your product for the client, for the time being. It's not perfect, but nobody's looking for perfection right now. Look for progress. Look for something that, that will still continue your sales, because at the end of the day, right now, what's important is to stay afloat. So change your products so you can still continue to be in the business and adapt. So I'm just pivoting. I'm completely shifting my game plan. I'm trying to offer outfits or products which are going to appeal to the client. sitting for Zoom meetings for six hours a day, but they can still look good. Like, I mean, we all want a compliment. Like today, everyone is looking beautiful in these pink tops and these outfits, and we all had a reason to dress up. Let's just admit to that. Because we are going live. So if we are going to be in a virtual world, it doesn't mean that you don't want to get ready. It doesn't mean that you can't rock that piece of jewelry. So if people want that, then we just give them those options. I mean, I would want to wear a necklace and a off-shoulder top. So all of that is there, but we just have to adapt. So I'm going to just pivot and talk to your clients. You should ask them questions. What is it that you want now? We have to offer solutions. We all know the problem, and the biggest thing we can take from this is ask questions. Just simply go into the DM and say, hey, what would you like now? What kind of pieces? What is your price range? I know you can't afford $500. Can you do 50? And then work with that. Asking questions will lead to so many answers, and that's when you put your thinking cap on and just ask the universe, and the ideas are going to come flowing. I ask the universe on a daily basis, and one day at a time. I'm not even thinking 6 months from now. I'm just thinking tomorrow. So
Amazing.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much. That was great input, Aisha. And I want to thank all of you wonderful women for taking the time out of your day to join Amani and I with Find Your ID NYC here on this COVID-19 Pink Talk special episode, the panel discussion for reopening strategies for success. It has been such a pleasure and really insightful to have each and every single one of you, our professors at Brooklyn College, our business owners. You guys all gave really great insight for a lot of the viewers today. And I think you definitely gave some guidance for people like Julia, who were able to leave away with some direct, great advice. Is there anything else you lovely women would like to add before we end this awesome segment?
If the student would like to contact me for further career help or advice, feel free to share my contact info. I'm here to help. So doesn't matter Brooklyn College students or students from any other institutions, I would love to connect with them.
Thank you, Dr. Fan. That's very kind of you.
I offer the same extension. As I said at the spot, we're always trying to help, anyone that is new and trying to learn. It is a springboard for designers. So I extend that. And I also would like to say that just wrapping up everything that we've spoke about today, there's so much opportunity in this moment, whether business owners realize it or not. Especially as business owners, we have our customers at our fingertips with everyone having their phone in their hands. So I say, take full advantage of that, make sure that you reach out and engage as much. Number two, community. It's very important that you build your community, and that's what's been sustaining us. We've had customers send us information about loans and everything. They want to make sure that we stay afloat. So that's been really helpful to us. So keep building your community as you move forward, so that, like someone else said before, as we do return, it will be like people flooding the gates, just, welcoming you back. And then also partnerships. So because I'm working at home a lot, I'm focusing the new vision is I'm really trying to figure out how can I build partnerships online. So we partnered with, we're partnering with Essence. We've, being covered by Black Owned Brooklyn. I've partnered with Afterpay, Amazon. Afterpay, to your point about giving people an option to purchase and spread it over time, and Amazon and, just finding other ways to make the experience more interesting, exciting while we're here, and then really focusing on revving up our online, because a huge percentage of our business is in person. But now we're seeing that online sales are really driving up. So we want to make sure that when we get back to business, our online sales are just as beasting as our in-person sales, right? So these are all things that, as business owners, we have to keep in mind. This shift is really a learning lesson to, if you were taking baby steps, well, you're in the water now, so stay afloat and keep going,
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great advice, and it's very true. I'm glad that you were able to share that insight. And again, I want to thank all of you for joining Amani and I with Find Your ID NYC on this special episode of Pink Talks, our COVID-19 panel discussion. And I hope that everybody watching will, take a look back at this amazing interview and hopefully get some really great advice for your own businesses or share information that you can pass along to friends and family.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you all. Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you.